Hi class. In this video, I want to take a look at downloading and installing Visual Studio Code. I know in some of the files and the content out there on Canvas, I mentioned using brackets if you are running a Mac operating system. So I want, when you go to brackets.io, it tells you that you would need to download Visual Studio Code and use the add-on for that. So I'm going to walk through that process. Here I'm clicking on Visual Studio Code, download for Windows, stable build. If you have Mac or Linux, you can download for one of those. I have Windows, so I'm going to download for Windows. And then here I'm having to tell it yes because I had downloaded this, so it needed to allow that download. And now that it is downloaded, I'm going to click on that file to run it so that I can install it on my PC. Here I can see I have, the license agreement. Accept. I'm going to keep this default folder. You can change that if you need to. I don't. Most of the time the default there is where I would want that to go. I can change the folder that gets created, the start menu folder. I can change that to something else. I don't need to. Do I want to create a desktop icon? Add open with code. Add open with code. So here I do want to add this open with code to the file context menu. And I'm going to add it to this directory context menu so it's already there. And I'm going to create this desktop icon so that it makes that a little bit simpler. And then click next, and then install. And then I'm going to let it do its thing. And then I can have it go ahead and launch Visual Studio Code. I'm going to tell it not to for the sake of this video. I'm going to click Finish. And then when I minimize this, I'm going to bring this icon over here that it created. And now, if I'm going to be using this a lot on my own personal computer or in my office, if I right-click on this, then I can pin to taskbar. And when I do that, it's just down here. I can use it whenever I need to. I like having a lot of my common things pinned down there, so we'll keep that there for now. And then when I open this, by double-clicking on it, it's going to bring up this welcome page, giving you some options to set up some stuff. I'm going to close this welcome page, go to File, New File. Then I need to select a language to get started. Start typing to dismiss or don't show this again. I'm going to click on Select Language. And for what I'm working with, I want to come down here to HTML. And Visual Studio is really good about giving you a lot of autocomplete and things like that. It can be really handy to use for those things. It does a lot of indenting and auto completion for you. So I can start typing in my tags. It's creating my end tags for me, doing some auto indenting. And that can make things a lot easier having that autocomplete. So that you're not having to. If you watched the Notepad++ video as well, it has a lot of that we went through, setting up a lot of those settings. This kind of has that done by default. So you can use just Visual Studio Code. There are some keyboard shortcuts and things. I don't typically use Visual Studio Code for my stuff, so I'm not as familiar with the keyboard shortcuts. I use Notepad++ a lot. That's what I'm going to use when we do things in class or most of the videos that I create, unless I find that there's a reason that it might be easier to use Visual Studio Code for something, because I am very much a work smarter, not harder. If something is going to be a lot easier using Visual Studio Code than it is in Notepad++, then I may switch to using that. That's really all I wanted to go into. It already has, by default, these tabs set up for you, the indenting, the autocomplete for these HTML tags by picking that you wanted it as an HTML document. And then a lot of the stuff that we'll be working with and doing as we go through creating pages is going to be very similar, regardless of which editor you're using. So you'll just have to remember that even though I'm coding in Notepad++, if you're using Visual Studio Code, you're going to have a lot of the same things available to you.